Since Ankara was only a few hours away, I didn't feel the need to rush, so I actually took my time to cook myself a proper breakfast for once. If you ever stuck without paper or cardboard to get a fire going, pine needles are your best friend. They are usually bone dry and packed with sap, so they catch fire almost instantly. On the menu this morning was a mushroom and onion omelette, finished off with the rest of the fresh cream I brought. I also always carry a bag of chocolate protein powder, pre-mixed with oats. It's kind of my insurance policy for the mornings when I can't find a grocery store on the route.
I'd like to help you in your struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. She said it's really not my habit to intrude. Furthermore, I hope my meaning won't be lost or misconstrued. But I'll repeat myself at the risk of being crude. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. You just slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy. Just get yourself free. Or hop on the bus, Gus. You don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, leave, and get yourself free. Ooh, slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy. You just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. You don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, leave, and get yourself free. She said it grieves me so to see you in such pain. I wish there was something I could do to make you smile again. I said I appreciate that. And would you please explain about the 50 ways? She said, why don't we both just sleep on it tonight? And I believe in the morning you begin to see the light. And then she kissed me, and I realized she probably was right.
On my way to Ankara, I stumbled upon Burj Al Babas and lines of castle-looking like houses. Very weird and a bit eerie in the middle of nowhere. I learned later that it was essentially a massive abandoned luxury housing development consisting of hundreds of identical miniature Disney-style castles. It was originally designed as a high-end retreat for wealthy foreign investors, but the project went bust years ago, leaving a literal ghost town and fairy tale castle rotting in the valley.
Just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. You don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, leave, and get yourself free.
Dusty mesa, a looming shadow grows, hidden in the branches of the poison creosote. She twines her spines up slowly towards the boiling sun, and when I touched her skin,
As I pushed further south, the scenery started to shift. The thick pines forest I'd been riding through slowly thinned out, replaced by small, scrubby bushes. Eventually, even those became rare. The world was dying in front of me until it became only mineral.
In the hushing dusk, under a swollen silver moon, I came walking with the wind to watch the cactus burn. A strange hunger haunted me, the looming shadows dance. I fell down to the thorny brush and felt a trembling hand.
Along the side of the main road, I started to see more of a small fruits and vegetable stalls. I decided to pull over at one of them, and the seller was pretty welcoming. He actually cut open a melon and made me taste it right there. It was honestly the sweetest melon I've ever had in my life. I really wanted to take it with me, but looking at the bike, I just didn't have a space to strap down a whole melon. So I had to settle for a handful of dates and some grapes instead. After one last stretch on the road, I finally rode in Ankara and right at Anıtkabir, the mausoleum of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of modern Turkey. It has this very sullen, powerful atmosphere that hits you as soon as you walk up the line road towards the main plaza. Visually, the place is massive, as it is a monument to an entire nation's identity. Atatürk is a figure who is literally everywhere in Turkey, but here you really feel the weight of his legacy. The complex was finished in the 50s and it served as his final resting place, but it's also a museum dedicated to the War of Independence. I actually timed my visit perfectly because I happened to catch a military ceremony. I got to watch a little parade with soldiers in dress uniforms marching across the square. Once you step inside the main hall, known as the Hall of Honor, the scale of the place really hits you. It's massive with towering ceilings and walls lined with marbles, brought in from all over Turkey. At the far end, you see the sarcophagus of Atatürk. It's a huge monolithic block of marble that sits right under a beautiful, intricate gold mosaic ceiling. After leaving the mausoleum, I headed towards a completely different side of the city, the Ankara castle. It's this massive fortification sitting on a high volcanic rock dominating the skyline. It's been there for 1,000 years. The Romans, the Byzantines, the Seljuks all left their mark on these walls, often recycling stones from older ruins to build them. Once you reach the top of the inner ramparts, the view is incredible. You have this 360 panorama of the entire city. To finish the day, I headed towards the main mosque. It's impossible to miss it. It sits on a hill which basically dominates the entire city skyline. It's one of the largest mosques in the world, and the ceiling is covered in these incredibly intricate blue and gold patterns. And there is this giant central chandelier casting a soft, warm glow over the entire prayer hall. However, I actually ended up stuck in Ankara a few more days because of my motorcycle. I had to get it checked and to wait on a new front tire to arrive. So I just had to suck it up and be patient. So I used the time to catch up on my online work, but honestly finding the motivation to stare at the screen was pretty hard. That's why I bought a ton of baklava. I'm pretty sure the only reason I didn't lose any weight during this trip is because of that. I became a little bit addicted. I actually brought a big box of them to the Triumph dealership where my bike was being serviced. Hi.
İngilizcem bu kadar. Teşekkür ederiz.
And other different one.
Koş. Çay?
The team was incredible, just genuinely kind, welcoming people. They even let me hang out in the workshop, and the mechanic was great about explaining everything he was doing. He was very pedagogical. Honestly, before going on road trips and having issues with my bike, I didn't know anything about motorcycle engine and how to take care of your bike. But as long as you're curious and the master is the key for you to watch, you start getting a thing or two, which will become very handy in the rest of the trip. It was officially time to get back on the road towards Cappadocia this time. But, like I said before, these autumn days are short. So I didn't ride for very long before the sun started to dip towards the horizon again. I didn't really want to push my luck in the dark, so I pulled off to find a spot, set up a bivouac, and got some food going before the temperature really hits me. Tonight's dinner was a bit of a fridge clearing meal. I actually still had a bit of chicken broth from Brittany, but I've beefed up with pasta, mix of spice and eggs to make it more of a proper meal.